Yo, morning, people.
You good?
Didn't you hear it?
This guy.
But didn't you hear it?
Yeah, well, we are testing something, innit?
No.
Alright. Let me greet the people respectfully. Sorry, guys. Can't hear myself in there, but tap your thing. Tap your mic.
Boom, 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 boom. It's probably because the earphones are done.
Yep.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, I can hear you now. I mean, I can hear the mic. Good morning, people, beautiful black people and others and all that. It's Tuesday, the 6th of February, 2024. Welcome to TDA, the day after, your favorite news platform and the home of popular culture as defined by the only culture that matters, by you guys, by the culture. And of course, we're hosted by the best.
I don't have any songboards.
Okay.
I think I should actually get my iPad so I can get the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the comments.
Yes. As you guys, I believe, can tell by now, it's just going to be me and Brent today. So that means you're just going to see melanin jam-packedness on the screen. You know what I'm saying? Brent, how you feeling today, man?
I'm good. Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that black people are superior to white people?
In what capacity?
I didn't qualify that with the person I was talking to. This person is in our community.
Okay.
I didn't realize that we had extremists in our community. But I did say that I'm going to tell Emmanuel about this.
Okay.
Because I believe that Spider-Man. Am I correct?
I mean, it depends, like, on what we're talking about. If we're talking... Go on.
This person believes that white people are inferior to black people.
All right, are we being honest here, or what?
Honesty would be great.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Obviously, I have to qualify it. When we look at genetics, right? When we look at certain things, I think when it comes to certain tasks, when it comes to survival, when it comes to being able to adapt and thrive and be the most efficient in a particular thing, right? Certain things is definitely reliant on your genetics, right? And I think in certain environments, when it comes to certain tasks, when it comes to certain things, black people are most definitely superior, 100%.
So they can survive. Oops, sorry. Got it. I'm just putting up the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So essentially, what you're saying is they have better survival skills.
I think when it comes to certain things, yeah. Like for instance, if we went to, I don't know, somewhere in Europe with extreme conditions.
Yes.
Yeah, black people ain't superior.
So in that sense, those environments, white people will be superior.
Most definitely.
All right. But essentially, I'm not really talking about that, am I?
No, but this is why I want us to qualify.
Yes, you want to qualify.
You know what
Go
I'm
on,
saying?
continue.
But if you just look at again, because you know what the thing is, because it's important to know what the person's talking about, what you're talking about, because obviously you were the one who posed the question to them, right?
People, this is what we do when we're alone. We're going all over the house. You can blame the rest of the co-hosts who aren't here for the haphazard live stream today. We'll try and stay on topic, obviously, but it might be a little violent.
No, but if we're being 100% honest, right, which is what we do on TDA anyway, you know what I'm saying? Again, I believe it's necessary to qualify it.
Yeah.
I know people want to get emotional and don't like to deal with facts. I don't like to do that nonsense, innit? I'm not a child. But when it comes to certain things, when it comes to science, I remember even hearing Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's an esteemed physicist, right? He was literally just saying, look at the science of it. Africa is the most is the continent with the most diverse DNA and genetics on the planet. So it makes sense that you'll find the smartest person in Africa. You You'd also find the dumbest person in Africa, most likely. You know what I'm saying? You find the tallest people in Africa. You find the shortest people in Africa. So when it comes to Africa being...
It's all probability, right?
Yeah, but also fact, scientific fact.
What did you just say? That it's a fact that you will find the most smartest person in Africa?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. You just said you like to deal with facts.
But it's fact, though.
How? Prove it.
I mean, obviously, we have to, like you said, we have to do some sort of
So
test.
why are you saying it then?
No, because it's most likely to happen.
That's what I just said. Is it probability?
Okay, yes, it's probability. Yeah, it's probability. But it's most likely that would most definitely be the case because of all the other things that you're able to find in Africa, in places which have the most diverse DNA. So, yeah.
That's the answer?
Yeah.
That because we are the first and we in our body, we have more to basically give when it comes to the gene dilution.
Okay. Yeah, the gene pool and that.
Then it makes us superior to anything that comes after.
It depends. Remember, it depends on what you're talking about.
I know.
Because you can't just look at two individuals and say who's superior.
But if you were asked the question, would you say, it depends?
Yeah, I would ask.
All
just how you asked me, I'll say it depends. What are we talking about?
So you think it's wild to basically have a white man say that?
To say what?
To say without qualifying that white people are superior to black people. If in his head he's only talking about him surviving in cold climates,
then that's why I'll need for him to qualify it, to expand on what he's talking about.
Okay.
But in most things, when it comes to humanity, since Africa is the birthplace of humanity,
yes,
it's most likely that in most categories that you care about, when it comes to survival, black people genetically will be superior.
Okay, doing certain things.
Yeah, of course.
All right, cool.
Not everything, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware. I mean, obviously, this person wasn't coming at it from this point of view. This person just believes that black people are the superior race, and in hearing that, your heart will be warm, right?
But it depends what you're talking about. Because remember, I'm not one of those people who just think, okay, yeah, because it's something that bigs up black people, I'm just happy with it. It needs to be true, though. You know what I'm saying? This is why I don't like to deal with within reason, belief. You know what I'm saying? Like, knowledge is power to me.
What is eugenics?
Isn't it to do with saying certain genetics is I guess more superior or something like that, right?
So, if one is to believe in
the theory behind it,
theory.
And
if one is to believe in the truest form of eugenics, if you want to create the perfect man, man being non-gendered, right? Mankind, yeah? It would have to be black man or black woman.
I think it would depend on the task, though, wouldn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. Because every agenda has a plan, has a goal and aim and objective, innit? So it depends. If you're looking for, I don't know, I can't think of something. But if you're looking for a particular task to be fulfilled, then you would look at what race maybe exhibits those genes the best.
Yeah. And do you think it's dangerous for black people to be running around saying that they're the superior race?
I think so. It can
without qualification.
I think anything without qualification is dangerous, 100%. But I think definitely black people, especially when we consider what today's topic of the day is. Because a lot of us go around talking about stuff and we have no business talking about it. Because in theory, you may like to think that you're the best at something. But in practicality, you're the bottom of the pile. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
All right. Good morning, Hermelin. I told you I'm going to get it right. Hermelin. Good morning, Crud Crew. Good morning, Carrie-Ann. I love the name Carrie-Ann, you know. Good morning, Imi Snow Globe. Good morning, KJ Art. Good morning, Everest. Good morning, This Woman's Work.
Okay.
As in womb man's. I see you. Big progressive up over here, baby. Good morning, Oyen B. Good morning, Izzy Bambino. I always think that's Italian. Good morning, Star Crew. He said the crows for Croydon. I don't believe him. Good morning, Black Rob. Good morning, Christy. Make sure and call in today, Christy, because obviously we're going to need your help. Good morning, man like Belly. Good morning, Chijoke. All right, cool. could run it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are a couple comments from Spotify.
Yes, so we had a couple comments like Brent just said. The first one from Mark, big up Mark, who says, "Are the boxes comfortable?" I guess that's something you have to consider.
The boxes are comfortable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What is that?
You didn't share your opinion yesterday about that particular box topic. Seeing as there's nobody here to interrupt your flow.
I'm also agree with what Mark was saying, because I feel like human beings, whenever you open the door to certain things, they'll walk through. You know what I'm saying? Rarely do we see an open door and just say, "No, not interested." And I do think it will become easier for people who may be on the edge, right, to just do it. And they may grow up, resenting themselves, resenting whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that I think people don't consider, right, because the option is there. There were times in history, even in recent history, where because an option didn't exist, you just didn't think that way. You know what I'm saying? And I think even if we just look at abortion, of course, we already know, and I feel like it goes without saying, that, of course, people use abortion because they really need it. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's on the table. But I think there are people, and if everyone's being honest about it, there are people who will use abortion, especially those getting abortion like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, right? Who are using it just as contraceptive, man. You know what I'm saying? And when you have that in society, of course, you don't want to ban it because of the few who misuse it. But the reality is, because it's there, you're going to have people who misuse it. And so, again, I just don't want to see no kids in boxes and people starting to devalue life from that age. You know what I'm saying? And also, like we were talking about, people growing up just not knowing where they come from. We talk about, especially in the black community, one of the biggest things I think that's affected the black community and will continue to affect the black community is because black people don't know where they're from. Not just in terms of locale, right? But just in terms of like what it means to be where you're from, what your culture means to you, like your history, your real history, not just a generic history of the continent, but your people and where you stand in history. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, all of those things automatically are taken away from that child when they're put in a box.
So you said you believed you were leaning towards Marx's point.
Yeah,
what was Marx's point?
Well, I was saying basically that I don't want to say that it incentivizes, but once it becomes an option, it becomes a thing where people start to use it. You know what I'm saying? And then you have more people trying to absorb themselves of that responsibility.
No, I hear what you're saying. What he's saying could possibly happen if it is that you introduce these things, right?
Yeah.
But what were the consequences, or what was he saying that should happen to help the current issue of abandonment?
I can't remember. Tell me.
More education, or punishment if you get caught doing it.
Was he talking about the boxes? He was talking about if you leave them in parks, though, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
so obviously this is something that happens currently.
Yeah, of course.
Leaving these babies left, right, and center, right? Sometimes even killing them because you don't have any other solution. So if this is currently happening, do you agree that more education is going to help?
100%.
As in, because
just to inform people. Being informed always is better.
Now, do you think they're currently like pushing out education? Not
to the degree
that they could.
Because
I mean, how long is a ball of string, right? Right. So if currently they're pushing out education, and you're suggesting more might change, and I think that's just like the same type of argument that people use with knife crime and whatnot. More police and this time, more education. This time's going to change things. Is it changing things?
I don't think it's exactly the same though. I just feel like
100%. It's not an equal parallel.
Yeah. But more so, I don't think it's just a case of just give them more education and stuff like that. It's more so the things around it. Just in terms of, I guess, maybe reminding women and men as well, like when you get past a certain stage, abortion is no longer an option. So from here, these are your options. If you don't want this child, this is what you can do. Nobody's going to.
What is the this is what you can do?
I don't know fully.
Why do you stop there when you're talking?
No, because remember we don't know them type of
when
things.
You, I hear what you're saying, hence you're talking, just talking, right?
No, but it's okay. Go on.
If you are saying more education could be put out there,
yeah.
What would that education be? And would that change that person now looking to possibly neglect that child or not give it the love it can give that child? Hence them looking to give it away, saying, nah, I can't manage this. Is education going to change that?
I think so, because I think this may seem like a small thing. And obviously I'm not in this position, never have been in this position. And obviously I'm a grown up, so I won't be in this position. But as in I won't be dumped in a box because I'm a grown up. Okay. But like I feel like even when we're using that same story from yesterday, the reason why there was an article is because of that young lady called Toyin who actually had that same fate. You know what I'm saying? Where she was found by I believe some dog walkers in 2001. Huh?
Left at the top of the stairs.
No, exactly, left at the top of the stairs. And that was because her mum, she didn't have papers, and she felt as though, you know, if I'm caught having this child, this and the third, they may
I want my child to have a better life or something.
You know what I'm saying? And also, I don't want to be deported.
Yep.
Long story short, by the way, I don't want to digress too much, but apparently when Torian actually got in contact with her, she found out that the mum wasn't deported. She was still in the country, and she actually had 4 other siblings, half siblings. But anyway, that's just to add a bit more to the story for everybody who's listening. But I feel like, again, this may seem like a small thing, but just having somebody grow up and hear that I was dumped in a box, I think is worse than hearing I was put up for adoption. You know what I'm saying? So if, for example,
Stop. Why do you frame it like that? Dumped in a box.
Okay, placed in a box. No, because
when
I'm
the
dealing
box
with the reality
is attached to an entire program, where it's like going into the hospital and giving it to the hospital nurse to say, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Why you now say dumped in a box?
Because it's not exactly the same as that. It's still a box. There's still
Jesus Christ.
No. You have to deal with the reality of it, Brent. Because it's still a baby box or a baby hatch. You still open it. In my estate, a lot of people will testify. In your estate, when you wait. When you're throwing that, again, I don't mean this to be insensitive, but when you go,
you put it rubbish and you put it in there, you let it go and
you open up the skip.
Wait a minute.
That's how the hatch is.
Wait a minute. So, you know when a baby's delivered,
yes,
and then they suck on them with titi hair, one by one, and then they take them into the place where they put them in the box where they're looked after. Is that also dumped in the box?
It's not a box. That's not a box. That might be an incubator. It could be something.
But how come you're not seeing it as, all right, this thing, again, it's the anonymity of it all. That's just the main thing of it. You don't want to have that shame on you, that guilt on you, just leaving it somewhere where somebody may not be able to see it, right? Because that child might just die, right? And you may never... once it is that you come out of this particular momentary madness, you may never get over that, right? And I'm not talking about everybody. Sometimes it's a case where you're mad and you're going to be mad forever, right? Or this might be something that you look to do and you then trigger warning, take your life, right? There's so many different circumstances that you all don't seem to be factoring in when it is you're thinking about this, right?
Okay.
So if you've been told, all right, there are people who are on call 24/7, looking to take this baby from you, right? To look after this baby, to give it the best.
Yeah.
And the only thing you need to do is to basically place it here.
Yeah.
This thing has everything the baby needs. It's much better than the top of the stairs.
Yeah,
it's
of
much
course.
better than a bin bag liner. It's much better than a bench on the park, right? And once you do that, we will look after it and give it a proper home. This idea that this person now needs to be told that they were dumped in a box, that's a violent misrepresentation of the entire program.
But that's their reality. Even if you don't see it as dumped in a box, placed in a box, put in there where it's warm, whatever it may be, it's still, I'm assuming here, right? I'm just assuming here. To that person who hears this, right? Yes, they were given to whatever organization that has that box attached, that hatch attached. But it's still, to me, I think, sounds worse
than left on a bench.
No. That's not the only option here.
But you're going on as though what you're sharing is this is how it's going to be seen. But you're not seeing it as if the box isn't there. Where would they put the child?
But this goes back to what you were talking about what the other thing would be, which would be the education part. So this is what I'm talking about. So, for example, if you use those resources to do the education, to do the support, and all them other things, right? And you had this whole anonymity thing as well, in some type of capacity where you're actually giving this child over to a human being, I think, again, maybe I'm in no position to say this, but I think that's better than somebody growing up and saying, and hearing they'll put in a box, they'll put in a baby hatch. I think you give it over to somebody who then takes this from you, even if it's anonymous, whatever it may be. There's still some human contact. Because let me just wrap up here. The reason is because when I put in a box, as much as I know it's safe, it's attached to a church, it's attached to a hospital, I don't know. I don't know.
Cool. Okay, I think I've understood you enough to basically pose a different question.
Okay.
So let's just say that money, since the boxes weren't there, right? Okay. And they used the money.
Yeah.
And we read just now that the fund is not even there anyway, right? So they use that money, the money that doesn't exist, to put more education out there.
Yeah.
Right? And upon putting more education out there, you're not saying that it's going to guarantee the abandonment falls. You're saying it's hopeful that it does reduce the numbers.
I mean, nothing's guaranteed.
100%. Nothing is guaranteed. Yeah. Yes? Cool. So if you've done all of that and there is still abandonment, they're still dropping it off left, right, and center.
Yeah.
Would you prefer, this is a very different question.
Okay.
Would you prefer
those
same people, after the education's still there, there to be a program where they can leave the baby safely as opposed to at the top of the stairs, in an estate?
And
that's I don't want to ask any other further questions because that's what the most important thing about this entire discussion is this bit.
Okay.
Even if nothing changes with the education, is there a safer way to basically hand over this baby to those who will look after it?
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, 100%. I guess for me, I just kind of see it as, have we tried other things? That's basically how I'm seeing it. Because we're there's no in between, it seems. It just seems like we've gone from parks to boxes. You know what I'm saying? When this is life. And every life is valuable, invaluable.
Are you saying that because you don't know about what is happening in that particular field of interest?
It might be. But I personally don't believe that we're trying enough. That's what I believe.
Because there are cases of abandonment?
Yeah.
That's...
Cases where it seems like people are saying it's on a rise, so we need boxes. So my thing is, okay, have we done other things so that it's... Because you have to remember, as much as I'm a man, right, if the education is out there, I would like to believe that us as men and women would know about these services that's there. You know what I'm saying? Because imagine you came across a random person, right? It's kind of like this. Again, this is not the same thing, right? But I know there's enough posters out there talking about recycling for me to know if you've got this particular thing, you can take it to the dump in your borough. You can get this thing put in a correct place to be recycled. We care about that. But if I meet somebody who I see on the corner, sitting on the side of the street, she's crying, heavily pregnant, and I ask her, what's good? And she's like, oh, she's got a baby, rather. I don't know what to do with this. I may be lost. Like, what? Like, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my head, you're the mum, so there is no other option. You know what I'm saying? But if the education is there and me as a normal person knows what the options are, if I'm ever in that situation, yes, it may be rare, but if I'm ever in that situation or somebody else is in that situation, you can speak to this individual who's going through this tough time and say, you know what, these are your options, you know. You may have heard it, you may not have heard it, but I can drive it to the nearest place.
I love that you've said options.
Yeah.
Because this is what this is, an option.
This is what I'm saying to you. But what I'm saying is it seems like the other options before the box don't seem to be there.
To be honest, what you've just told me is more education.
I know. I know that. This is why I said it.
And that is the bane of certain people who are doers. This whole, we'll put some more funding in to basically, spread more word. they get vexed. Those people who work on the ground floor on the battlefield, they're tired of more education, more education, more education. Is it followed up by something substantial? How is that going to change?
But a lot of them ask for funding, though, don't they?
Oh, it's always funding. It's
That's
always
what I'm
funding.
saying to you. So it's not. I don't think it's just a case of there's not enough education or whatever it may be. They're asking for more funding, and I think it's because every government that seems to be in power doesn't prioritize those things. There's limited resources for everyone's got certain gripes with society, so you're always going to want more funding for the thing you care about. You know what I'm saying? So I understand it.
Do you think people should take a test before being able to have children? Some sort of competency test?
I mean,
aptitude test?
No. The reason I say no because you're now tampering with nature and biology. Because how do you prevent these things? You have to look at the implication of these tests.
How do you prevent these things, eh?
Yeah, if you actually believe it. No, do you get what I'm saying?
I like that you're saying sometimes the whole prevention is...
Is what? Prevention is always better than cure.
Attempt prevention, yes.
No, but what I'm saying is, in that situation you're saying, right?
You know, I've heard you say it before, like some people shouldn't be allowed to have children at all.
Oh, I believe that. But I'm saying to you, in practical life, rolling that out, I can't side with that. That's not a good thing. You're tampering with nature. Because then you kind of have to prevent everyone. And then after the test, allow. Rather than allow and fail the test, prevent.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't sit well.
Should there be, like, let's say social workers are working with this particular family, and they know full well they're not able to give the adequate care to these children, and then they keep having them for the whole benefits scheme, yeah? Should something be done about that?
Honestly, if I give my opinion, I'm literally just giving my opinion because I'm on the spot talking about it. I'm not considered enough of the factors that would go into that. I think, as you know, I'm about freedom, right? And I believe ultimately, if people are educated and informed about certain things, they will make the best decisions. You're going to get ups and downs, it's like anything in life. But ultimately, right, net result, I think humanity will make the best decisions. So but in that situation...
in that same admission that you believe with proper information given to people, in the end, they're going to make the right decisions. And you shouldn't really care about this option of a box then.
Why is that?
Because if they're given information, they'll make the right decision.
Yeah. This is it.
And that right decision might be, I'll choose safety as opposed to leaving it for the dogs.
But then that would have been the person, in my theory, who would have left it in the park. But the person who wouldn't have left it in the park, who's now has an option.
This part
that's the
where
problem I have.
It sounds as though you're saying that you would have never done it unless it was presented to you.
I know it sounds crazy, but you have to remember.
I'm not saying I'm not just like outright just dismissing it, right? But where did that come from? That thought of yours.
It's more so just how I believe human beings are. I believe you have an option, people use it. People justify walking through that door. So
give me an example of what will go through a woman's mind. I'm only saying woman here because they're the bearer of the child, right? What are you saying in that circumstance, that situation, would go through her mind to be like, all right, cool. I wasn't going to do this before, but now you said there's a box. Here you go.
I don't think it's not as simple as I wasn't going to do it before. It's more so somebody who's thinking, I'm not sure I can be a good parent. I'm not sure I can look after this child. I'm not sure I can keep this child safe. Guarantee shelter tomorrow. Sometimes in life, when you have no option, you feel like, well, if you don't, then you know what I'm saying?
Do you believe in humankind enough to believe that a mother would try everything at her disposal before then making that last decision?
No.
Wow. Okay. No. You think she would jump to the earliest inconvenience?
I don't think it's jump to. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like...
This is interesting.
I know this is not the same thing. It's not the same thing, but it's kind of like... Let me think of a good analogy. It's not the same thing, but it's kind of like maybe going to the gym. And in your brain, you feel like, you know what, if I don't lift this weight, that's fine. I can walk out the gym. But someone say to you, if you don't lift this weight, somebody's life, someone that you love's life is on the line. I feel like people can try more. You find strength from places you didn't think was possible. And I think a lot of the time that happens when you're a parent and you experience that love with that child and you say to yourself, I'm prepared to do something that I've never thought was possible. You know what I'm saying? Because of that experience. Coupled with the fact that there's no other option. But if there is another option, your mind can say to you, you know what, since you're not sure about yourself being a good parent and being able to provide for this child, you know what, you can give this child to somebody else. You can do this. But back in the day, I believe when there was lack of options, the people who carried it through were those who had maybe asked themselves the question a million times and said, you know what, I'm 100% sure. I can liken the same thing to abortion. Do you think, honestly, that everyone who gets abortion is because of whatever the reasons are that the biggest campaigners of abortion say is the case?
So this pro-life stuff, I'm not.
No, but I'm trying to get you to see what I'm saying.
I believe in people's option to basically say, yeah, they can't handle this.
Yeah.
So this is difficult for me to answer the question.
No, but what I'm trying to say is there would have been a time a lot of people would have campaigned for abortions back in the day anyway. At least that's my understanding. Because maybe, you know what I mean, like trigger warning, they're victims of rape. Just other things that I guess majority of society will see as serious reasons, right? I don't want to say one's more important than the other. But then you get a situation today where people just, I just don't want the kid. And that's fine. It's up to you. We live in 2024. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. But 1,000 years ago, I don't think people as much as today said, I just don't want the kid, so I'm going to just get rid of the kid. I just don't think that was the case.
But it's interesting you keep on traveling back to the past.
No, I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to show you. The
situations were different. Circumstances were different.
Because there were a lack of options. There was a lack of options. There was a lack of options.
This can't be an argument.
There were more people below the poverty line, yet there was a lack of options.
This can't be an argument.
No, it has to be.
It can't be.
Because I'm trying to show you that with humanity, listen, people take the path of least resistance, man. Like sometimes when the option exists, people take it.
So you see options as a blight to progression?
Not always, no. But what I'm saying
so
is
you
there
pick
are
and
some
choose.
people. No, I'm trying to say that some people do. I'm not talking about myself. I'm saying some people do. Because sometimes it just gets tough and you can do it. Because it's there. Do you get what I'm saying?
All right. Thank you very much for sharing your opinion on that. You didn't do it yesterday, so now you have. Now you'll know where Emmanuel sits on this. The next comment is?
All right. So the next comment is very interesting topic of the day. Even more interesting that I actually agree with Margs with this one, minus the breast comment. Support before it gets to the stage of using a baby box. This is by JMW. So yeah, man.
All right, cool. All right, thank you.
Also, you alerted me earlier.
I wish I had the horns now, man. In fact, let me get up to do the horns. Let me make the effort, seeing as I have an option too.
There you go. If there was no option, he would have been sitting down. There you go. Also want to big up Johnny and Danny, man, and the whole cast of Dreaming Whilst Black. They have been commissioned for a second series, man. You already know we had our friends on the show, you know what I mean? After we all watched the first season, which I believe is one of the best things I've seen on TV from black producers, black directors, just an overall black film, black series, I should say. Like the comedy in it was comedic gold to me, man. They really didn't shy away from any topic, man. They weren't being safe for nothing, man. Like they really put it all into that, man, and they created an amazing series. So I'm really happy that they've got a second series, man. So yeah, man, big up again Ajani, Danny, and the whole of Dreaming Whilst Black, man. I'm looking forward to that second season. But yeah, I think that's it, Brent.
All right.
I think we can move on to the headlines.
All right, hold up.
Hold up, people. Yes, Ed, I know orphanages existed 1,000 years, by the way. Of course, all these things did. But we're talking about an increase. We're talking about people who use certain things as options because they exist. How many things in our lives have we done because the option exists? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a normal thing. This is how humans are. You know what I mean? Like, it's just how it is.
Let me see if
You know what I mean? You
works.
pour water down something that has 2 channels, it will go down both channels. You know what I'm saying? Until it finds the path, the pipe that's best for it to travel. That's just how humanity is. It's just biology.
I can't stress again the importance of this particular platform of ours, this show that is our first tentpole show from the New Black Network, that we have difference of thought in the room, because there are going to be people out there in the community who will think like Emmanuel. There'll be people who think like me. There'll be people who think like Margs. There'll be people who think like Esther. There'll be people who think like Gina. So anyway, just as long as we keep it respectful, we progress. All right, let's see now.
All right, so our first headline, man. Obviously, last week we were talking about the king, getting his prostate checked, and trigger warning, guys, but Buckingham Palace has announced that the king has been diagnosed with cancer and has started treatment. His diagnosis comes following treatment in hospital for an enlarged prostate, although the palace says he does not have prostate cancer. Interesting. The palace has not confirmed what type of cancer that the 75-year-old monarch has. The Duke of Sussex has spoken to his father about his diagnosis and will travel to Britain to see him in the coming days. This is was reported by a source that's close to Prince Harry. But the palace said that the king personally called both Harry and the Prince of Wales, as well as his siblings, the Princess Royal and the Duke of York and the Duke of Edinburgh, to share the news of his health. Next headline, and Rishi Sunak has been caught out of touch after taking a £1,000 bet with Piers Morgan on whether deportation flights to Rwanda will take off before the general election. Can you imagine? Morgan said to the Prime Minister on Talk TV, "I'll bet you £1,000 to a refugee charity you don't get anybody on those planes before the election. Will you take that bet?" Sunak shook his hands on the wager, and he said that he was working incredibly hard to get the people on the planes. The government's attempt to send asylum seekers to Rwanda for their claims to be processed has been blocked by the Supreme Court, which ruled the policy unlawful in November. Sunak has said that he can salvage the scheme. Opposition parties criticised his decision to agree to the bet with Morgan. The Shadow Paymaster General, Jonathan Ashworth, said not a lot of people facing rising mortgages, bills and food prices are casually dropping £1,000 bets. It just shows that Rishi Sunak is totally out of touch with working people. And our last headline, trigger warning here, guys, and the UN says that since the start of the war, about 100,000 people in Gaza have been killed, injured, or are missing. Hamas claims several attacks against Israeli forces in Khan Yunis and calls for abuses against Palestinians detained by Israel to be addressed. The UN chief, Antonio Guterres, appoints an independent panel to review the UN aid agency for Palestine refugees in response to Israeli allegations that employees of the agency actually participated in the October 7th Hamas attacks. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrives in Saudi Arabia, kicking off another Middle East tour amid efforts for a truce and captives deal in Gaza. At least 27,478 people have been killed and 66,835 have been wounded in Israeli attacks on Gaza since October the 7th. The death toll in Israel from the October 7th Hamas attack stands at 1,139. Look at the disparity there. But anyway, that's it for the headlines, man. It's time for topic of the day. All right, people. So, obviously just me and Brent today. You guys, I hope you guys can call up and discuss this topic. This link was sent to me by Christy. Big up Christy every time. And we're just going to discuss this briefly, man. Just see what you guys' take is on this, especially since we were talking, we touched on certain things anyway yesterday and in Wembley Road and last week as well. But the question is the importance of productive conversation in the black community. Is it important to have productive conversation in the black community? I.e., is it time we start reducing the amount of time we actually take to have conversations about mundane, generic, degenerate things that actually translate to nothing?
everybody going to realize we as black people collectively around the fucking world do not have the luxury of constantly having these fucking conversations. We do not have the luxury of constantly going back and forth with one another, bro. We fucking don't. Why we are sitting there talking about 50-50, having diaspora wars, masculine and feminine fucking energy, the rest of the world has its foot on our necks. We need every single black person on this fucking planet. We need all the help we can fucking get. It doesn't matter where the fuck you come from. Africa, the Caribbean, America. It doesn't fucking matter, bro. We are all in the same fucking boat. These conversations are getting real fucking old, bro. And then everybody wants to fucking cry and complain and wonder why we stay in the same position because we are sitting there arguing with each other about these stupid ass shit that don't fucking matter when we should all be focused on how we can all get on the same fucking page. When is
Yes. So that's basically where we're gonna start, man. I guess, Brent, what's your views on that, man?
I agree. However, it can't be the whole story because where can I start with this? What type of conversations is he saying that we should just move away from?
Well, he mentioned about gender wars and stuff like that. So I'm assuming, but obviously I'm not just trying to keep it to what he was talking about. I'm expanding it as well.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The other day we were talking about bad as UK and other things like this.
Yeah.
And I believe a couple of weeks ago we were talking about degenerate behavior and things, like that in our culture.
Yeah.
Do we have the luxury of spending that much time on those things? Or maybe are we spending more time on productive things than we actually think we are? Is he wrong?
I think it depends on the circles in which it is that you occupy. Okay. And the media that you decide to consume. Mm-hmm. You could surround yourself in a chamber of just consciousness on Instagram. He's leaving this message on Instagram, right?
Yep.
You can curate your feed. Mm-hmm. You can follow all these positive blogs, all these positive thinkers, these thought leaders, and you can just consume that content. Mm-hmm. Even though some of those thought leaders and this, they're having a madness in their other part of it, but they're not putting it there, right? Mm. So you can decide, just like you can go into Waterstones and decide which books you pick up to edify yourself. Yeah. You can decide to just focus on what he is talking about.
But the fact that he's maybe talking about it, right? Do you feel like it's not because he maybe is exposed himself to that, but because there's such an overflow in that particular area that it just comes into every other area of productivity? Because if I was just saturated with positive things, if you deem it positive, would I hear about Bad as UK if you deem that negative, for example? Would I hear about Love Island? Would I hear about all these other things? Is it inevitable that those things will spill into my circle as well?
Possibly, but I'm not sure if it will.
Does the positive things spill into their circles enough, or at all?
No, because their curation, mm-hmm. their feed, is what they've decided it to be. Mm-hmm. So they might be following the blog pages in this, that, and next, and decide not to follow the positive pages in this, that, and next. Mm-hmm. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And those pages are not going to put up the type of content that he's talking about. Mm-hmm. So it may be less likely mm-hmm. for them to see positive stuff mm-hmm. than for us to see negative stuff.
All right then. So is that a problem?
I think it's life.
Okay.
And it could be a problem, but it's life. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's just a black thing.
Okay.
But as he is saying, they can afford to be doing that. Mm-hmm. But we can't afford to do that.
Yep.
The gender war stuff, like I said, it depends on how you see it, because at the root of it, there's a whole set of obviously you did this to me and you're behaving like this and I don't want you to behave like this because if it is that you behave the way I want you to behave, then there'll be sweeter communication. That's not going anywhere soon because the lot of us, the majority of us, especially from young, we're not really interested, or I guess this is part of his argument, we're not taught to care about the things that would aid our community being cohesive.
Okay.
And I think that accountability needs to be focused on here because black men can do a lot to change that overnight. But it's not chosen as the path that we want to choose.
Why is that though?
Because we want our cake and we want to eat it.
But do you
And
think
we like to talk about old stuff, how it was all the time. The good old days.
But is that because maybe the good old days were that much better, and so we want to try and return to the
for the black men I'm talking about, the good old days was better. Obviously, it was better, but it wasn't good for everybody. It wasn't good for the progression of the black community.
Okay. So do you feel like the men that you're talking about, or just, I guess you're just talking about black men in general, right? Do we know?
I'm generalizing here, obviously.
Yeah, of course. But do you think we know what the best way is? Is it a case of us knowing
I
and not
believe we
choosing?
do. I believe that we do. I believe that we do know that it's not good to be playing about with women's hearts indiscriminately. It's not good to be lying, be building a relationship based on lies and deceit. I believe we know that, but we choose to do it anyway. Again, generalization here. When I say we, please just ascribe that to those who I'm talking about. If it's not you, it's not you.
Okay. Do you think...
I would like you to identify as Margs also in this particular argument, because I'm identifying myself and Esther. Is that?
I guess, all right, let me try something. It's not my job to care about her heart, man. It's not my job. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm joking. But you know what the thing is though? Because a lot of the time we may say certain things like, oh, you know, men are playing with this person's heart, this, that, and the third. Is it really that that's the case though? Or is it more so that men and women we're just growing up? You know what I mean? We were children. We became teenagers. We're just trying to understand life, understand the sort of relationships that we want. Because remember, like nobody grows up independent of each other. We grow up and we see women. Like we're exposed to certain things. Women grow up and they see us and they're exposed to certain things. And so all of these relationships and I guess these observations form the way we view each other. You know what I'm saying? Is it really a case where one can just spring up from amongst all of those different things in the community and say, you know what, I choose to just see it this way and I'm going to pick this? Is it that simple?
Are you saying that the condition in which it is that we are read, we aren't given a choice or chance to be better people to each other?
I don't think that we're not given a chance to, because I think a lot of the time we are, but
I don't think we are. I don't think the education is what it needs to be at those malleable ages.
That's true, 100%. We've seen the facts already. Many of us come from broken homes.
100%.
And that's where you should get your training from.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, given that that's the case then. Crazy. But given that that's the case, how do you expect a man to just know, okay, this is how I should treat a woman? How does a woman just grow up and know this is how I should treat a man?
This is what I'm saying. It's like a chicken and egg stuff. But
No, the reason why I'm saying is because you're saying that men, we know what to do,
I
but
do
we're not
believe.
doing it.
I believe that men know. If it is you didn't know the first time, on the fifth go around, at one point you're like, all right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a case where they don't know Emmanuel, especially when it's communicated to them the damage in which it is that they've done or are doing. So you said how? By by starting with, I guess, who does it start with? Because it's a case where women could pick proper men, right? Men who would raise their children with the knowledge and education that fosters
100%.
a better mindset.
Yep.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
But men could also make it easier for women to choose amongst the good crop. So the bad crop shouldn't be pretending like the good crop. The wolves shouldn't be running around with cheap clothing.
Doesn't that happen in all areas of life?
I know it. I know it does. I'm speaking to a fact. I'm speaking to something that we're seeing every single day, right? People put their best foot forward, and then they turn around and say, I've gotten what I've gotten. I don't need to be good anymore. I'm gone, right? Or I will show you who I am. If it is you still decide to want me, that's on you. And when feelings get involved, when emotions are involved, my friend, that's what happens.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you believe there's some people out there? Trigger warning.
Remember, I'm nobody the person who's like, look, if there's a bear enclosement, right, in a zoo, and there's a sign saying, do not feed the bear. You should not be feeding the bear. Do you understand? It's very clear.
Yeah.
Because when the bear is a bear, you start complaining, the bear's being a bear. Precisely. Believe.
Yes,
believe people.
100%.
When they show you who they are, when they tell you who you are, believe them.
That's true.
Because it's hard to have empathy after the fact. It's really hard.
This is it. And this is why I said many moons ago, you get the life you deserve. You know what I'm saying? This is why. Because
that's the title. You get the life you deserve.
because it's so difficult to name all the many factors that go into what contributed to making everybody what they are, that ultimately you just say to yourself, well, it just is. It's kind of like somebody who becomes a killer. Or, just killed somebody. I don't want to say like a killer, like this is what this person does. But they've killed someone or they've abused somebody, whatever it may be, right? And then we don't consider all the things that went into their lives that made them this, right? And none of us do that in society. And even if we did, we still say you still need to go to prison because you still commit the crime. So what I'm basically saying is all of those things, yes, they matter, but they don't matter in the grand scheme of things. You still meet a person where they are and say, you still are an abuser. And because you've abused this person in this particular fashion, to the hell with you. You know what I'm saying? I think in a similar way, in society, nobody has the time to look at everybody's life and say, okay, I understand why you're like this. I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. No, nobody does that, right? You just get on with life and you say, well, this is what you are today. This is how I met you. If there's something in you that I see that I can nurture, beautiful, let's do this together. Hopefully you can see the same in me. But typically, like you just said, like you just see somebody how they are. And if they show you certain signs, believe them because that's just how they are. Even if they have a just reason for being that way. You know what I'm saying? But I guess the question I wanted to ask you is, do you feel like there's just some people none of this happened to?
None of what?
So, for instance, a woman growing up, she never gets cheated on.
Yeah.
Why is that the case? That
could be different factors.
Let me put it to you like this. Let's just say you knew her when she was 12. She's now 30. Wife, 2-3 children. And in your head, I'm not surprised. In your head, you say to I'm not surprised. You see your friend who's a guy and he's the same, 30 years old, wife, 2 kids, or he's a husband, 2 kids, whatever it may be. And you say, I'm not surprised. Like, you did certain things in your life that only really, that the probability would only lead to this type of end. Do you think that's the case?
Are you asking me if there are people that exist who never get cheated on at all in their entire life?
No, that's most people. I think I'm basically saying
what's most people?
That most people don't get cheated on in life. That's what I think. I think we inflate.
All right, stop.
All right, go.
The ones who have partners who are in relationships.
Yes.
I'm not talking about the ones who are single.
Yeah, that's not cheating, is it?
It's because I guess the majority of people may be single
No.
who are not
You're asking
wife
me.
and husband. I believe that the most people are not married.
Okay.
Most people in this world, I believe, are not married. I might be wrong.
At any given time, yeah, I guess you're right.
Gina calling me? This can't be right. Gina, can you call me on the flipping phone? Oh, maybe she's trying to tell me she's sending a message and she wants to know the phone number. All right, hold on.
Okay. Black Rob, man, call up, man. I'm saying that because he just said something in the chat. But yeah,
No, she didn't leave a message, so I don't know why she thinks I'm going to pick this up. Gina, if you're listening, yeah, it is you. All right, can you call on the number that's in the description, please? If you just... should I put it in the chat? At this point, it really should be one of your favorite numbers, babes.
Well, why do people think that I'm talking crap about this whole? I think they're referring to me saying I don't think most people get cheated on.
I'll get onto that. I really wanted you to clarify what you were saying. How do I go to the?
This is interesting.
Oh, sorry, let me just. Talk for.
Yeah, I mean, let me expand on that. I mean, to be fair, I feel like it's self-explanatory. Like, I just feel like if you're in a situation where you can be cheated on, i.e., you're in a relationship, whether it be a 3-month relationship or it went on to marriage or whatever it may be. Maybe it is. Maybe Black will be right. Maybe I'm being a bit naive, but I don't think the majority get cheated on. Like that's a sorry state of affairs, man.
Glad you're saying it.
Yeah, I don't think that's the reality of life.
He wouldn't like it to be right.
Not at all. Not at all.
Gina, that's the number. Can you call that, please?
Maybe I'm too much of an optimist when it comes to these things because I generally don't think that's the case. I think maybe you guys may be thinking I'm looking through a particular lens, but I think you have to consider the population of the world. Like there's many countries in the world who are just not as toxic as this country and the West, who have respect. You know what I mean? And have certain values. But anyway, good morning.
Morning.
Right, Gina?
I'm fine, how are you?
Yeah, thank God.
It's nice to hear your voice, by the way.
Wait, first of all, Brent, you're rude because what do you mean she hasn't sent a message? Do you not know how to use your phone?
No, I'm actually...
I couldn't find... whenever I couldn't get the description, every time I tried to press it on my thing, it wasn't...
Yeah, I don't realize that, but I didn't have my phone on my lap because it's charging in it, so sorry.
Oh. Anyway, I was calling because Emmanuel, you asked a question about like, do you think there's people that like just never experience certain things, yeah?
Yeah.
And I've got a friend who I'm gonna use myself and her as an example. Okay. And her life is completely different from mine.
Yeah.
And like we grew up together. We went to in primary school, secondary school, like growing up, we was like batty and bench. But we had two completely different upbringings. Her family life and my family life were completely different. Like she was raised in she had good examples of love. She was raised in a very Christian home. And she had a really close relationship with her dad. So in terms of like her self-worth and her self-confidence, like from young, I noticed it. Like she was so confident. She never let boys take her for idiot. Do you know what I mean? She had a level of confidence and like she just oozed something that I didn't. But I grew up in a broken home. Do you get what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm not justifying my bad decisions, but I'm just saying I noticed the difference in our choices. And when we grew up and we had conversations, she would always say stuff like, do you know what? Yeah, you're so strong. You don't realize how strong you are. You know, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, spare me. Because she's like, oh, I could never go through half the stuff that you've experienced. But I used to always ask her, like, how comes you're so confident? How comes you're so, like, I was so interested as to how she was the way she was. And she was just like, her dad instilled it in her from young. Like, she was like, from when she was like 4 or 5 years old as a child, like, her dad used to proper sit her down and talk to her and, like, just instill so much confidence in her. And she grew up with that, and that's why she was able to kind of, I guess, navigate through life differently to me, whereas my upbringing was completely different.
Mhm.
So I guess my point is, like, there's a lot that goes into how you kind of navigate through life as an adult, especially when it comes to like your childhood and things that you've experienced. But yeah, I just wanted to add my little 2 pence.
Question though, because I do believe that
Mm.
people like your friend exist. Are they in the
Mhm.
majority?
No, I don't think so.
Emmanuel, you think so, don't you?
No, I think Gina's talking about like a well-rounded individual, that all that type of stuff. I'm not saying that that's necessarily the majority. I think even the stats kind of unfortunately prove it's not for the black community anyway. But I'm just talking about the cheating aspect of it. That's the only part I'm talking about, and that's not limited to black community.
Explain.
I'm talking about the entirety of the world. Like,
So you actually think like cheating is the minority?
yeah, I do.
Really?
Yeah, honestly.
As in the world.
In the world, yeah.
All right, let's pause there.
Yeah.
When you say the world, let's go a couple countries, name them. You the best of the best for you.
I can't say it like that though, innit, Brent? Because
But
No,
I
of course you
want you
can't.
to say something. You can't just say the world, majority of the world don't cheat. I'm not talking about the ones who are in relationships. I can't have you just say something like that because I'm sitting here. So give me examples. What culture,
Okay.
what people
yeah.
are you talking about?
Okay, let me just say
Because you can't say Africans.
no, but I think you can though. I think you can because
Wow.
no, honestly, because
You know what, Emmanuel? I'm not gonna lie. I love you, but now you're literally you're being obtuse and naive. Like
Gina,
you literally are.
do you feel like our generation is the same as our parents' generation in terms
Are
of
you crazy?
yeah,
Of course,
I'm
brother.
asking.
Hold on. Do you not like? Of course I do, because again, like,
They may have done
okay,
it
so
more,
for
to be
me,
honest.
yeah, I was one of
Parents'
those
generation.
kids, yeah, I was one of those kids, yeah, who like my mum and my parents never hid anything from me.
Okay.
So I was very exposed to like adult drama and things I shouldn't have known from a young age. Like that I knew everybody's business. I don't think it's any different. I think the difference is we have social media. But when it comes to cheating, infidelity, all of that kind of stuff, and I think that also plays a role into why, like, you know how they always say like our generation, we're too quick to like divorce, and we're too quick to like we don't value marriage and and all this stuff. Yeah, I think a part of that conversation is the fact that a lot of us now are not willing to kind of stand the test of time with struggle. Whereas when we look at our aunties, our mothers, and like the generations before us, that was normal. You can ask an African woman if they think cheating is if they think cheating justifies divorce. A lot of them will tell you no.
Yeah.
Like, what is cheating? My own mum. Do you get what I mean? Like, I've had my mum when we did Meet Us After 7. I had my mum on that episode. Me and Yusuf spoke to my mum at length about dating and like my dad. Remember, my dad got bare kids. Do you know what I mean? And she spoke from her perspective and her age group, and that's normal. So I'm not gonna say I don't think that stuff it was better in their generation. I just think we're just a lot more exposed to it because there's a lot more means for cheating, and we have platforms where this stuff can be like televised. Do you get what I mean? Whereas they didn't have that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I feel like a lot of these things, yeah. I'll never forget. This might be a silly example. I don't know why this even popped into my head. I'm not even going to mention the person's name, yeah. But Brent, you know the person, right? They used to come around a lot, right? And I remember, like, he was telling me a story of him in uni, innit? And he was dating this girl. And, like, he was basically just reflecting and talking about how badly he treated her. And he was like, you know, like, I don't even want to mention some of the things he did, right? But he just basically was just thinking, like, why did I do this? And he literally said these words. And it made me laugh, innit? Because it was like, where did this come from? But he was just being honest. And he said, I don't even know why I treated her like this. It's not like I learned this from my dad. He literally said that, right? It was like just some sort of awakening. I say all of this to say, I think a lot of the things that we learn is sometimes outside of the house. And if our community, if there's something that's like, there's a stench in our community, a lot of the time, like, we're affected by it because when we leave the house, if that proper training is not grounded in us, we learn it outside. And I think that a lot of us, when we've come here, especially our parents that come to this country, especially those that came together, a lot of them, they have a proper bond. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that a proper bond means there's no cheating involved. I'm just trying to say that there's a proper bond and there's a certain values that they have. And I think a lot of that is back home as well. And I think at a certain time, especially where they're families that value marriage, that value, I guess like rearing their children and things of that nature, I don't think that in their brain cheating was the norm. I just don't think that was a practice and a type of behavior that people did. Like to say it was the majority. You have to remember that like African people, we have certain values in our culture. You know what I'm saying? And certain things were frowned upon. Now, I'm not talking about polygyny where people had different wives and different kids. And you know what I'm saying? You have to remember that a lot of the time, just because maybe the second wife or the third wife was not taken in exactly the same way as the first wife, like we just say, oh yeah, it's cheating, this, that, and the third. But a lot of things were done in a particular framework. And a lot of the time we take that framework and put it in today's day and age and say, oh, that's bad, that's cheating, this, that, and the third. I'm not talking about that. Like there's certain things within our culture that we just frowned upon. And I don't think that the behaviors of today where men can just have kids and leave the kids, just go about his business, is something that we didn't frown upon back home. Like your parents, your village will take you to task. Like what's going on there? You know what I'm saying? So again, it might be a thing where you guys think I'm naive or whatever, but I just don't believe that the majority of the world has been cheated on. I just don't see it, especially if the majority of the world sees cheating as something that's one of the gravest sins in a bloody relationship. I just don't think that that's the case. I don't think so. Again, it could be that I'm being naive. But when I look at, and to kind of answer your question, Brent, I can't necessarily give countries, but I guess I can maybe look to certain cultures. And I think cultures, even if you just go to, let's just say the north of Nigeria, if you go to even Yoruba culture, I don't want to say that because obviously I know today things have changed, but like if you just go to certain cultures, right, where, for example, they're heavily Islamic, for example, or there's a heavy Christian influence, this, that, and the third, or even just in a traditional setting, some of these behaviors is really frowned upon. So I think it might be a case of, in a similar way where the negative news travels faster, the negative news is what's highlighted. I think maybe that's why, again, this is just my opinion, I think maybe that's why it seems as though that's the majority of people's experiences. But I don't believe that in the world, majority of human beings get cheated on. I don't think that's the case, man. I just think that some relationships just don't work. Or, yeah, they just don't work, man. You know what I'm saying? I think when you look at the horrible divorce rates and all these other things, a lot of these stats are just from the West, man. 50% divorce rates, 40% divorce rates. I think a lot of that's from the West. I don't think that's the reality of
I don't
people
think you use divorce rates as a
Of course not. Yeah, I'm just
because
basically saying one of the things that we will look at as I guess like an ill in a society as it pertains to relationships. You know what I'm saying? But I guess there's obviously no way for me to prove it. But I think maybe that's just me and my view of the world. And I just don't think that that's the reality for majority of the world. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
All right. Gina, thank you very much. If it is that you feel moved to call in again, as we continue, please do. Love your voice.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Gina.
All right. Back in the bus.
Yes. So, yeah, we were talking about basically the amount of time that we apportion, I guess, to unproductive conversations, isn't it? Like the gender wars and the cheating, and who's gonna pay on the first date, and all this other stupid crap, right? That nobody gives a damn about. And reality is, after people talk about it, you still go out on a date and you still figure out when you're sitting there. Like, there's just still gonna be the case. People are still gonna date. People are still gonna have kids. People are still gonna get married or not get married, whatever it is. Is it not time? Or if the premise is wrong, do we have the luxury of having these conversations, really? Like when we look at certain things, the things that we complain about on a day-to-day, is it not time that we kind of apportion some of the energy that we use to talk about stupid crap to trying to fix some of the problems that we say society has caused for us?
I think
uniquely.
both can be done. And both are being done.
Wouldn't you say to a child who, or any human being who's trying to tackle 2-3 tasks, you know what? The most important thing, put more of your energy to that and drop the other thing.
That's a simplified approach to people having a day to do things.
Precisely. And the reason why is because in your day ends. There'll come a time where, like, you'll cease to exist, right?
Yes.
So if we know that, for example, as days go by, we're getting older, our community is being itself, whatever, and we still, it seems anyway, that we're openly talking about things that don't necessarily edify the people.
Question. And this is on the same point.
Yeah.
100 years ago, even flipping 50 years ago,
Yeah.
race was more prevalent than it is now. The differences, the cultural war, race wars, very different, right? We've made a lot of strides and sacrifices to get to this particular moment where we can afford to focus on other things and take our eyes off the ball. And we are living through that right now. Social media has magnified the ability to distract us, right? But it has also allowed us to connect better,
Yeah.
to galvanize better, to unionize better. And it's not going away anytime soon. And as you can see, there are different subsets of disgruntlement coming out of now our access to the world conversation, right? And as you would say, we are taking on certain things because it's being put in front of us. Are you focusing on my conversation or are you the
Yeah,
the
I'm
chat?
focusing. I'm still
Do you
reading.
agree?
Yes.
All right. And that's going to continue, right? So I believe that we can do more than one thing.
Agreed.
In a day, we could do more than one thing.
Agreed, definitely.
Dependent on where we work, dependent on our environments, dependent on the spaces in which we place ourselves in, by choice or not,
Yeah.
we are going to focus and prioritize accordingly.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's a very simplified thing to say.
But it's like what you just said there. You said prioritize accordingly.
Yes, in the heat of whatever we're facing.
This is what I'm saying to you.
If there is an educator
Yeah.
whose sole job is to go and teach
Yeah.
about black progression, black building, black this, that, and next, right? And at home, his or her life is in disarray because of whatever invasive ideologies has polluted or been chosen by their partner. It disrupts the entire spirit of that person.
Yeah.
The willingness to go and educate is going to be difficult.
Right.
Do you understand? This is why I said you need to be able to do more than one thing because the well-being of that person matters.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But I guess as much as we need to be able to do more than one thing, and like you rightly said, we as a community are doing it more than one thing.
We can't afford to not.
This is it. We can't. Yeah, that's true. But we can't also afford to put the same amount of energy into equal things when the effects of one may be more disastrous than the other.
The whole badders thing, right? This is not a new thing, right?
It's not just badders, by the way. But
I'm just using that because we talked about it yesterday, right? What it tells me is I need to do better and quicker.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And even when I get to that point where I have resources, I still need to not just rely on people's desire to just hear positive stuff. I need it for it to be more entertaining than the things I see as degenerate. Do you understand? So there's an onus on me to even, what are the elements that are working over there?
Yeah.
I need to make sure and match or better, so that this is, even if it is, you still watch this, because again, human beings are human beings. We go to the crash. Do you understand? We're interested in the loud noises, right? But let this also be something that fills you with far more joy.
Facts.
So you would go there more than you entertain that.
100%. Do you feel like there's enough of us then thinking in that capacity?
Tap into your optimistic bag, because your optimism self will be like, yeah, right? Or are you like, no? And how are you able to qualify that? No.
I guess the optimism I have is more so that once it's there.
You did say you believe in humankind. You believe that if presented with the right information,
Precisely.
they're going to make the right choice.
Exactly. So the option needs to be there, because like I said earlier, when the option's there, people take it. You know what I'm saying? You're more likely to take it more.
But you're now saying this option needs to be there.
Yeah. So like we're saying,
okay.
so like I'm saying, the positivity here is that we need to, like you're saying, hurry up and do those things so that it kind of counteracts. And so people know it actually exists, because once you know it exists, like I said earlier, it becomes a viable option that you take, you investigate. You know what I'm saying? So in this similar type of situation.
Just please be careful when you looking to say it's you're full circling. You're not full circling. You're full circling to my point, because this option is a better option. And once you know it's available, you're going to now go for it. Understand? You're proving my point. But let me not digress.
I'm proving my
point.
point.
Let me say so. Go.
But yeah, so I think that's what it kind of boils down to.
Christy.
Good morning, Christy.
Morning.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, I'm still a bit ill, so my voice sounds
I didn't know
funny.
you were ill.
Sorry.
Apologies. You knew I was ill, Brent. So.
Come on, go
on. Sorry. I don't know where Brent left off his point. Sorry, because I know you was talking about the badders and creating more content. I guess that's more because I actually wanted to ask when the whole badders UK thing up, I actually wanted to ask you, Brent, because of the new black. Would you, as we love to say, black people are not a monolith, and I'm getting tired of that term.
Would
to be
I
honest,
have space for this?
Yes,
no.
That's what I wanted to ask. Like,
no.
Would that have been part of your repertoire?
Nope.
Because black people are the monolith.
No, I haven't seen this particular show, but what they've put out for clips is just, I'm looking for a fight. Blah. So no, I may be naive in this because I haven't watched it, but if that is what it's about, the promotion of a bad mindset, I have no space for this. I'm sorry.
Okay, I love that. In terms of the obviously the video I sent, I think the problem is, I mean, Brent, you kind of I don't know if you did it on purpose or you did it unknowingly, but when you started off the conversation and you played the or whatever, and then afterwards you then said black men. Now, instantly, I don't know if you did that on purpose or not, because I know you cause trouble.
Sorry.
I don't know if you was doing that to make a point or what, or you was actually being...
Sorry, well, a question you asked me, was it about our community? Why wouldn't I say black men? Should I say...
No,
what should I say?
I think she's going to say...
No, wait.
Huh?
No,
hello.
Yeah, sorry,
Can I
go on,
speak?
Go on, Christy.
Okay. I'm saying, after that video was played, you then said black men. And I think already by starting that conversation there, you already introduced the gender wars in which we're not trying to be talking about in the first place. No? That's how we got down this road.
I'm not opposed to the whole gender wars. I just would refrain from using that particular contentious term, because the welfare of a man or a woman matters, the entirety of it. And if their home is not right, then anything they look to do progressive outside of that is going to be affected. I'm arguing with Emmanuel saying, no, I don't think you can just be blind to that and still just focus on whatever this guy is suggesting. I don't know what he was suggesting. to focus on. But I'm guessing it's the upliftment and the progression of the black community. But how you do that is to make sure in my head, make sure the home is right. That's where you start.
No, and I agree. And I think therein lies the actual underlying problem with us when we talk about quote unquote the black community. That community for me entails family, and I feel like that's the foundation. And I think unfortunately we are way in foundationally in terms of black people. Just I guess in the diaspora, I feel like there's still more. I guess more still family ideologies when you're back home in Africa and stuff like that. But I feel like they're also being influenced by the West, so it's getting a bit techie at the moment. But I think for us as the diaspora, I feel like that's where the underlying issue, where the foundation is actually wrong, and hence why we are probably producing these kind of conversations where it's unnecessary. Because to me, if the foundation is rubbish in the beginning, we can't even build on anything. And I think that's where we're getting missteps all the time. So it's like we can't even get past a certain conversation because already the foundation is already it's like we're building on quicksand. It's not even there. You know, like the whole Jenga block or whatever. If you take it from the bottom, it all obviously, and I feel like that's what's happening. And we're constantly being taken from the bottom, and they're trying to rebuild, and it just keeps on falling down. It just keeps on falling down, because we're not even getting past a certain point. Now, to be honest, I feel like I'm creating more problems than solutions for me, because I'm at the stage where, obviously, yes, I'm queen of BOE, but I kind of want to be queen of BOE with people who are like-minded. Like, I feel like the energy it takes to combat, like, for me to even just say queen of BOE, I will get how many other people stand up saying, why are you calling yourself that? Oh, why is it black? Why are you questioning me why I want to be saying black over everything? Already there's an issue. I would get pushback on certain things which I believe will take us further, but you want to have pushback against that. Like, there's pushback on every little thing, and I think that's also our problem. Like, why are we having pushback on things that it's insignificant? If I'm saying black over everything, and I'm looking at the bigger picture, I don't know why there should be pushback. Yes, we can have nuanced conversations, and I'm happy for there to be nuanced conversations, but I feel like even the nuanced conversations, it's just to be like, hi, no, me, I'm right. It's not even to move forward. It's to prove that I'm right and your point is wrong, and this is what I'm going to do.
Do you feel like it's just and this is a question to you as well, Brent, do you feel like it's just the role of the very few to just move any community, but especially the black community here, forward, and it can't be the role or the mandate of the majority?
Yeah. Ideally,
yeah.
And I think that isn't just isolated to the black community.
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Christy?
Sorry, so that it's the role of the minority to move the majority.
Yeah, to move the.
Is that what you're asking?
A select minority.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I think, yes, I do. But in that select minority, I don't know. It's hard. I feel like this with social media and stuff. I feel like a lot of noise gets drowned out. Because even Brent, remember we've had like our last conversation where I was and you posed certain questions, and I was just like, me and my friends don't be having these conversations. So this is not even a topic of conversation for us. On an everyday basis. So a lot of things to me is like, why are we even wasting time talking about this? Like, on a day-to-day basis, this is not the conversations I'm having with my friends. And I feel like when you say that, it's like maybe it sounds dismissive, or it's like, oh, you're being naive, or you're something. And I'm thinking, no, that's literally my everyday reality. It's not this. And maybe that's why I can say I'm focusing on certain things when it comes to the black community, because I don't really care about all of this stuff. I don't care about it because it doesn't take us any further. So I don't know, maybe because that's the day-to-day I'm living. But I feel like there are a lot of people who are living that day-to-day, and and I don't know why it's not really getting pushed. That's not getting pushed. So like for me, so when you now talk to me on an everyday level, but for some reason the social media narrative will let you know, will tell you that that's not what black women are talking about, and I'm thinking, no, there are black women who are not talking about this. There are, but it's like the many get tarred with the minority. So back to your question about the minority leaders, I don't know how, I think it's quite hard, especially with this social media age.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know how the minority is gonna there will be a shift, if you know what I'm saying, because obviously there were figureheads back in the day, like obviously Honourable Malcolm X. He came up with I'm using these figures for a point, but I'm just saying they came up with resistance from their own. They did.
Mm-hmm.
There was, but I feel like, there were more people who were not satisfied with their circumstances that would rather listen to what he was saying than not. If you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get
not that he didn't, not that there weren't coons, not that they weren't pushback, not that they weren't afraid and all this kind of stuff. But I feel like there were more people who were unsettled with where they were at this time. So yes, I'm going to listen to the likes of those people. I feel like the problem now, we are comfortable in the position that we are, and that's the real fact. We are very comfortable at where we are, and because if we weren't, I think we would be a lot further than what we are. But if we have to do real talk, I feel like a lot of people are comfortable where they are. They don't mind. It doesn't matter, like, oh, what is race, and it doesn't factor everyday race, blah blah blah. It doesn't. Oh, I'm getting to the bag. What does it matter? I've got my drip. What does it matter? I've got all these things. So what does it matter? I think people are very, very comfortable at this staging point in our community, and so that's why there's not really I personally don't see why there's a shift. So I feel like it's very hard that the minority is going to have to. The minority's got a lot of work to do then to change the tide of the majority, because I feel like the majority are very asleep right now, and I hate that term because it sounds like I'm being all the whole work. But I think we're happy to be where we're at. Mm-hmm. Like we're happy, like, oh well, racism doesn't exist. It doesn't really affect me because, well, I'm here. I've got this job. I don't get the day-to-day, like someone, the white person's not calling me this, or someone's not calling me this race is not calling me this. So we get caught up in that. So it's like, okay, so what's the big issue?
Mm-hmm. I think, thank you so much so far. I think that some are comfortable. I think some are ignorant, and some are fearful. There are people who don't want the boat rocked because wherever they are, they have enough to feed their family. And why should I look to care about the community if at any point they would look to take from what it is that my household has? And again, this has been a systemic conditioning. I need to fear the black man before I fear the white man. So I think it's different factors. I don't think everybody is just comfortable.
Yeah, maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but I think.
Do you think people are aware, or do you think people see anything in society as a threat to the existence, to the quality of life of black people?
To the
to the existence of black people
who can see that.
Do you think is that anywhere near the majority?
I don't think so.
I think that would contribute to us being comfortable then.
It's education, isn't it?
But even with education, some people say, well, we're doing far better than our parents' generation, this, that, and the third.
As in,
so we're comfortable.
Educating them to look out for these things, to be aware of these things is what I'm talking about. It's not given to them from early doors.
Yeah.
This is the problem. Hence why we need the what's his name? I forgot his name. Begins with D. He came on the show. Is it
Daryl?
Yes, Daryl. That's it. We need those kind of things, and I think those things are not being pushed. Unfortunately, they're just not being pushed. It's just so if, like, for me, it's just like if we're gonna tackle this, it needs to be tackled from early. It needs to be tackled from early. Like I feel like certain people, I feel at a certain stage it's kind of late.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they want to do the work.
Question.
Unless they want to do it and it.
Question.
Yeah.
Your God, Elijah Muhammad. I mean, not Elijah Muhammad. What's his name? The Honorable Farrakhan. Yeah.
Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah. What does he normally basically say you need to start? Where do you need to start the education process? And what's the important role of the black man within the family unit? Does he harp on that?
100%.
Why?
Because he recognizes that the black man is the head of the household.
Just that?
No, but that's where it starts. Because you need to have that structure, isn't it? You need to have that structure.
Does he ever talk about the importance of the black man teaching his children or his household, his house unit?
That's what I'm talking about. Because you're the head of the household.
I don't want you to say that's what I'm talking about because I had to ask a question to get that out of you.
Yeah, but that's basically what I'm saying.
I need you to elaborate.
Okay, cool. But
because my focus here is on the education from young.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
In the nation, right? Even if you go to like the 5% ideology, it's always been about, the black man is, I guess, personified as the sun, the one who shines that light, you know what I'm saying? But the black woman is the moon and it reflects over her to the children because she's, I guess, the first nurturer and teacher of that child. That's why it's important for the black man to teach the black woman and teach as a whole when you become a family. When I say a family, outside of just you as the man and the woman, when you start to have your kids as well. So that's always there. That's always a focus. You know what I'm saying?
So in your life, the importance of you being the person who makes sure that your family unit is read, educated properly, the offspring that come from your loins has everything needed to make sure they survive out there, to survive in here, and to look to build the community, 100%. Right? If you weren't there, would it be more difficult?
100%.
100% more difficult, 100%. Right? Now, you would prefer if this copy, not exact copy, but this desire for the black man to know his importance within that particular family unit to be just multiplied, duplicated 100%. All across the board. Because if that happens, what do you think the next 50 years would look like community-wise?
I mean, it will go back to what you were saying, that if we then take on those roles, like our community will change.
This is why I kept saying, chicken egg. But if black men take on that particular
role, 100%.
Do you understand how everything changes?
100%. 100%. I think this is why the biggest attack is on black men. I think that's the one.
Yeah, but you know what the pushback would be with what you just said. You know what the pushback was going to be. There's going to be a whataboutism.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to get that.
The fact that you just said that.
How do you mean?
The fact you just said that, there's going to be a crop of I think you've made a valid point. Both, I wholeheartedly agree. But the point of what will come up is, oh, well, the women are not letting the men do this. That's going to be the rebuttal.
Huh?
Women, what? Women
that's
are not
going to be the
letting
rebuttal to what you're saying. Yes.
Explain.
That's the rebuttal.
Explain.
That's what a faction of men will come up and say.
Okay, I get what she's saying.
Sorry. As in, like the archetype of Emmanuel?
No, just men in general.
No, I don't. I want to be specific here. Yeah. I used you as an example. Do you understand? If Emmanuel is duplicated, Emmanuel's mindset, please, everybody listening to some of my voice, shave off all the other things that you've become aligned Emmanuel with. I'm talking about making sure that he stays, that he's healthy to the unit. Do you understand? That he's not doing things to basically corrode the love that is needed for the children to be reared properly, right? All these lovely things, right? And the education, the love for community and understanding the importance of community is poured into these children. I'm talking about that archetype. Because when you say, Esther, Christy, when you say other men, I need to know which other men you're talking about. The men that would say, "Oh, the women aren't letting us do this." That's such a simple base thing to basically lobby against a man like Emmanuel, because the men that would say that, I don't think it would be like Emmanuel. Do you understand? It's an easy way out, because I want you to basically clarify these men. Are they looking to live their life as they wish, without question or accountability to all these other trappings?
I mean, I guess so, but
that's the focus here.
Yeah, and
so what aboutism?
I think if there was the replicas of Eman, I think 100%. But I'm gonna need those replicas to stand up straight, like right now, because they need to be stand up and be accountable.
They're not enough. Obviously, mine is like there's a unicorn in this piece.
That's just my thing. I need those to be accounted for.
Can I ask a question though? Yeah, how important is that though to everybody? If in your brain you thought, you know what, I go to church every day. Again, this is a bit of a left question, but I go to church every day. I do whatever my belief system is, and you feel like that particular belief system, that church going that we do every every Sunday that we go, every Wednesday, you know, whatever it may be, it's not necessarily conducive for producing that sort of man.
Which is possible, because the stuff that you learn in church, depending on the church you go to, still is seeped in cultural beliefs. Yeah,
big facts. Would you guys?
So what are you trying to say, man? That we shouldn't be in church?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying if your church didn't produce those type of men, because at the end of the day, right, like in our households, we expect certain things to occur. We expect a child, a woman, the man to be exposed to certain things, and all those things to be conducive to providing, to producing productive human beings out there. But then also you go to school and you hope for the same thing, right? That your child's exposed to good things. And you go to your religious institutions and you expect the same thing, right? I'm basically saying when it comes to the religious arm of that, of your family, if that particular religious arm is not doing that job, if the church, for example, you care about maybe ministry, if you care about having strong men being the head of the household, if you care about women being whatever it may be, if that was not doing, would you abandon your belief system?
If the church isn't...
Yeah. So that church is not working. You went to bare different churches and you come to the conclusion that, you know what, maybe it might be my faith because of the teachings. Again, this might be a hypothetical, isn't it? But I'm just asking, like, where do we put these things in our lives? Like, would you abandon your religion and say, you know what, this other religion, I think they prioritize it. Just like if you went to a job, I think my particular job prioritized my mental health. And right now in my life, my mental health is the most important thing. They allow me to work from home. They allow me to leave early to pick up my children, things of that nature. Would you leave your other job that does not allow that? Because in your current state, your mental health and the welfare of your children, being able to pick them up, take them to extracurricular classes means more to you. Would we do that with religion?
Would I leave my faith if the church isn't serving me?
Yes.
I'd leave the church.
Yeah.
But let's just say you went to many different churches and you've come to the realization that, wait a minute.
I just haven't found the church that is right for where I am with Christ.
So nothing would make you say to yourself, you know what, I don't think the issue isn't the church. It might be.
Because I guess I know what Jesus is supposed to be saying.
Is that what you think as well?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm on Brent's thing, because I mean that's a whole different conversation for a whole other day of what the church is purporting in Christianity right now. So I think that's a whole another topic for a whole other day. So,
the reason I'm asking is just to see where we rank certain things, because obviously we all prioritize different things in our lives, isn't it? And so when it comes to building a family and family units staying together, growing together, things of that nature, and being productive in society, like all the factors that go into that, like, do we prioritize those things above other things that maybe we were just grown up learning or told to choose? for example, if you believe, for example, religion is one of them, if you believe going to schools is one of them, would you take your child out of school if you tried 5 different schools and you believe they weren't learning much? Would you take them out completely and say, I'm just going to stop working maybe, or work half the day or whatever it may be, and homeschool? Like, where do we prioritize these type of things?
The example of the schooling back and forth is a bit different than the church, because you have to move catchment area, you have to move flipping houses each time.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
But you get what I'm saying, the principle behind it. You understand what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Again, like I said, it is just a question.
Let me know what you mean. As in, I can see the examples you're trying to use as parallels, so I can understand it, but I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just me asking that question. The reason why I'm saying that is because, for example, if you look at, for example, the nation, one of the main things, I guess, goes back to what you said about just making men be accountable and behave as men in the traditional sense, and take on certain roles and make sure that your responsibilities are fulfilled as a man. And that's important. You know what I'm saying? Like, very important in a nation. That, I'm not saying it's not important in Christianity, but I feel like you can be a Christian and no one asks you of that. In the wider context. I'm not talking about, like, you know what I'm saying, me and you, how we may talk and be like, oh no, you should be doing this because Christ is. No, just in the wider context. You can tick a box and say, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer in Christ, I'm this, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. And nobody really asks about your responsibilities in the home. But you go to other organizations or institutions, religious ideologies, and being a member of those belief systems, that's something to say. If you don't take this, you're not one of us. Do you get where I'm coming from? Do you feel like it's time to change that, or is it like, do we care? Do you get what I'm saying? But again, this is just a topic that will go off onto another thing. Maybe it's a completely different topic.
Yeah, I feel like you're going off on a different topic here.
But I'm only asking.
I feel like you're trying to. I feel like you're trying to. Are you trying to recruit men to go to the Nation of Islam or something?
No, because he's even saying that shouldn't Christianity adopt certain
the same
aspects
doctrine,
of what,
basically.
making sure that they actually don't just serve them on Sunday,
precisely,
but actually take a more involved effort to find out what the home's saying. Because on Sunday we can wear our best gowns, and that pastor will be none the wiser until it is, he's gotten a call and he's been asked to intercede in something or the other. Do you understand? And he is saying with the nation, we need to check to see if it is that you are living up to everything that you need to in order to be a member of this particular organization. Because if you're not, then you can't be putting your bad apple with the rest of the good apples. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I hear it, but my question would be, do we need religion to be able to do that for black people, for this to be?
Well, if you deep
for us to move forward,
for black people, religion is more or less the baseline for a lot of us. Mm-hmm. So that's the beginning for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And if the beginning is not right, then why should anything else be?
Yeah.
Because you mentioned that. You mentioned about foundations, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. I mean, I guess I was mentioning it in foundation in terms of family. So not maybe thinking of the religious aspect of it.
Mm.
Because I guess maybe because I'm thinking about, I'm viewing it through my lenses where the religious aspect for me doesn't play a part for me. But obviously people think I'm weird when I say I'm black first before anything else. Whereas my good sis Esther would say differently. Mm-hmm. So that's why I view it separately. So that's why I can prioritize certain things and still like maintain like my religious beliefs and thing. But I still am aware of what we have to face, what was needed, and why I feel like my priorities in terms of what I'm instilling my son and all these kind of things as it pertaining to moving through this world. I guess I don't really place too much emphasis on the religious part, to be honest with you. I can't lie. I'm not looking for that there. But I guess in terms of producing those men, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Especially if that's not coming from somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's not coming
That's
from
true.
somewhere else. Where's it meant to come from? Because like I guess to some degree, you have to look to these other institutions. Otherwise, why are we part of institutions? You know what I'm saying? Like this is precisely why I believe, like when it comes to your religion, if your religion doesn't serve you in this life, as well as the hereafter, I don't see the point in it. That may seem harsh to many people who have certain belief systems, but I just don't. Personally, I just don't see.
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
If your belief system doesn't serve you in this life, as well as the hereafter, and I just don't see the point in it. It's a waste of everyone's time. You know what I'm saying? And when you consider black people, I feel like we were saying, if there's nothing that allows for that change in the mindset of black men, for example, to say, you know what, I understand that I may not have come from a good home, or I understand that maybe I'm predisposed to do certain things because of my upbringing, my experiences, things of that nature, but it's time to change. Otherwise, my kids will have the same fate as me and all this other nonsense, right? But there's nothing to really foster that. Where does it come from? You know what I'm saying? But if you're with a group of people who think like in a similar type of way, it becomes easier. You know what I'm saying? Plus you have the training, you have the tools as well to assist you in that endeavor. But yeah. Anywho.
Thank you, Christy.
Thank you very much, Christy.
Thanks.
You've been
All right, bye.
a great servant.
Thank you.
All right. I think we touched on very different things there that we can make even separate topic of the days, man. But, Brent, because of time, we got to move on, man.
All right.
Why is my thing closed down? All right, people. So our next headlines. A coroner is to examine 7 deaths at a care home in Sidford at the height of the coronavirus pandemic. This follows a police investigation into 11 deaths at Valeview Heights, which is formerly known as Holmesley Care Home, in early 2021. At a pre-inquest review at Exeter Coroner's Court on Monday, the coroner, Alison Longhorn, said that she had reason, to suspect that the deaths were unnatural. Ms. Longhorn decided to have one inquest covering all of the deaths. The hearing will look at what the government's COVID guidance was at the time, and it will hear from doctors and pathologists as well as police officers who investigated the deaths. Next headline, big trigger warning on this one, man. And the jury has been told that a former Metropolitan Police officer charged with 13 counts of rape tied up one of his alleged victims and threatened to stab her and slit her throat. These animals, man. Croydon Crown Court heard that the woman got into a car with Cliff Mitchell, who told her he would stab her if she tried to escape or was sick in his vehicle. He allegedly told her, "I don't care about my life anymore. You've met the devil." Mr. Mitchell, guess how old this guy is?
White teen.
Most definitely.
He is 25.
24. Very close, man. Why do you think that, though? Because in my brain, I'm thinking this sounds like somebody who's maybe 40 plus.
No.
Why are you tired of life at 24? Why don't you care about your life at 24? Interesting.
I think that his wife,
24,
or his missus, she cheated on him.
This guy ain't got no wife or missus, man.
Well, he used to.
Well, I just pray these people get justice, man. These type of animals,
crazy.
These animals can't be on the road, man.
That is crazy.
The prosecution barrister, Catherine Farrelly, told the court that Mr. Mitchell responded with threats when the woman said she was feeling sick in the car. She said the defendant told her, "If you throw up in the car, I'm going to slit your belly for every second you throw up."
Can you imagine?
These people are meant to be keeping us safe in the streets.
Wait, sorry. I thought he was an Uber driver.
Huh?
He's an Uber driver.
The police officer. He's a police officer.
Wait. So he arrested her,
Yes.
and then he's talking to her like she's scum.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, now I understand. Okay.
Yeah. Crazy. But he's charged with 13 counts of rape.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is one of the people that he tied up. So I don't know if he was arresting them or maybe he was doing his own personal thing outside of police hours. I don't know. But yeah, the last thing I wanted to mention is the last headline. A man has been arrested on suspicion of hiding the Clapham chemical attack suspect. The 22-year-old man was arrested on Monday morning for allegedly assisting an offender and has been released on bail. Police have said that the manhunt for Abdul Azeez, who's the suspect in the attack, is working at a considerable pace, with more than 100 officers across the UK involved. It's good that they're deploying that many people to sort this out, man. They'll release new CCTV footage on him on Southwark Bridge, central London, on Wednesday evening, which is when he was last seen, they said, at about 9:50 p.m. They have recovered his mobile phone as well from the car involved in the incident, and they're analysing it to establish the relationship between him and the victim. But yeah, that's it for the headlines, man. And it's time to pay them bills, bro. And then move on to the People's Journal. All right, people, welcome to the People's Journal, where I give you the news from an economics point of view. There isn't much to talk about today. Just wanted to mention that retailers, apparently they suffered a lackluster January, man. Why? Because of bad weather and because of the cost of living pressures that are still, unfortunately, still here, man. That and they're pretty much discouraging shoppers from spending, especially when you consider Christmas. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all according to the research. Apparently, total retail sales across the UK increased by only 1.2%. This is the year-on-year in January, right? So it's down sharply from the growth that we spoke about in the same period, 4.2% last year. The other thing I wanted to mention is McDonald's, man. I saw some other headline to do with McDonald's. I'm not too sure where it is, but anyway, apparently McDonald's have reported its first quarterly sales miss in nearly 4 years. This is what they're saying is because of all the customer boycotts that were related to the whole Israel-Hamas war. You know what I'm saying? They said that their sales growth for the period in its division, including the Middle East and China and India, was 0.4%. But that's far below the normal expectations in the market, right? Which, according to the London Stock Exchange group data, is 5.5%. And obviously, like I said, this comes after the whole back and forth with people boycotting and things of that nature. If you guys remember, last October, McDonald's in Israel announced that it had donated thousands of free meals to the IDF. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, people who are against Israel, which seems to be everybody but Israel, right, is they were upset by this, man. And this is why people called to boycott McDonald's. I'm not too sure if you guys still remember or if anybody's still boycotting McDonald's, but yeah, that's what occurred, man. Similar boycotts also, for those who don't know, also occurred and damaged some of the sales from Zara and Starbucks as well. Both of them missed their market expectations. You know what I'm saying? They cut their yearly sales forecast last week when they basically released this information. So yeah, that's what's happening. Also, I believe last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, I mentioned how people are going to be receiving their final cost of living payment, which is worth about £300. Well, to be exact, £299, right? That's their cost of living payment. And that should be happening from today. So payments will be made, for those who don't know, across the UK between now and the 22nd of February by the DWP, the Department for Work and Pensions. So if you know anybody that's entitled to this cost of living payment, you know what I'm saying, please make sure that you would pretty much know if they received their first and second one. You know what I'm saying? Please make sure they receive their third payment. But yeah, that's pretty much what you need to do with regards to that. Last thing I wanted to mention is an economist from the Bank of England was speaking about the interest rate, and basically, I kind of mentioned this before when I was talking about the governor. But yeah, this economist, Hugh Pill, he came out and he was talking and he basically said that the interest rate could drop this year as a reward, in his words, is what he says, to the economy for bringing down inflation. So I think I mentioned it earlier. Was it this week or last week? I can't remember. I think it was last week. Yeah, because they had to sit down on the 1st. And obviously they kept it at 5.25% for the 4th time in a row. But many people believe that it will drop, that the panel will come together and actually reduce it by a certain amount, probably just down to like 5%, you know what I'm saying? But still, Mr. Peel is basically saying that the cuts from the current 16-year high of 5.25% could happen if inflation falls in line with all the expectations that they have this year. Inflation doesn't need to drop to the 2% target before they bring down the interest rates, because I think long term they're saying it should hit 2% later on in the year. But that is the target, and if things seem to be going on down that trajectory, then they will obviously revise the base rate. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the People's Journal, man. Brent, we can move on to the last set of headlines. All right, people. So our last set of headlines. Trigger warning on this one, man. Big trigger warning. And a man has been charged with 6 counts of attempted murder after 5 police officers and a firefighter were set alight in Leicester. So police said that a liquid believed to be petrol was thrown at 6 officers and a firefighter in Oxford Street in the early hours of Sunday. 5 officers and a firefighter were subsequently set alight, but the flames were quickly extinguished with no one injured. Ako Faraji appeared in the court earlier, and 27-year-old of Oxford Street also been charged with arson with intent to endanger life. 1 count of an offence under Section 24 of the Offences Against the Person Act 1861, maliciously administering with a noxious substance, intent to injure, aggrieve, or annoy any other person, and 1 count of theft. And the last headline that I wanted to mention is also about the weather, man. Not also, well, it's about the weather. And apparently, the mild start to February is going to be coming to an end, guys. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but falling temperatures are pretty much in store, as well as a risk of snow. So above average temperatures will give way to a more seasonal winter chill over the next few days as colder air moves south across the UK. The Met Office has issued a yellow warning for snow in much of North Wales and northern and central England on Thursday, but there is some uncertainty over how much may fall and where. The yellow warning, which has been put in from 3 o'clock GMT Thursday to 3 o'clock in the morning on Friday, covers a large area of North Wales through parts of the Midlands and into northern England as well. There's a small chance of power cuts, travel delays, some stranded vehicles, and delayed or cancelled rail and air travel, and a slight chance that some rural communities could be cut off as well. So this is all according to the Met Office. So if you live in any of those regions, guys, you know what I mean, please take heed and plan your journeys, plan your days accordingly, man. But that's pretty much it for the headlines. And it's time to pay the bills. All right, people, welcome to the reaction. I'm just going to say some scores. I'm going to leave this till tomorrow, really, so we can have a proper convo with Margs when he gets back. I've got a topic of the day that is interesting, man. I want you guys to obviously call up about, even though tomorrow we may be finishing early tomorrow, right? So we'll be very to the point. But anyway, that's another separate topic. Just wanted to say the scores. Monday, Man City beat Brentford, man, 3-1. On Sunday, Bournemouth drew with Nottingham Forest 1-1. Wolves beat Chelsea at home 4-2, as in at Chelsea's ground, right? Manchester United beat West Ham 3-0. And Arsenal, the best team on the planet, you know what I'm saying? They don't always identify as it. That's fine, right? They beat Liverpool 3-1. I was going to say a hybrid, you know. Anyway, so on Saturday also, Everton drew with Tottenham 2-2. Brighton beat Crystal Palace 4-1. Burnley drew with Fulham 2-2. Newcastle drew with Luton 4-4. And Sheffield United lost at home to Aston Villa 5-0. Did we mention? No, I don't think we mentioned the scores for the Afcon as well. Did we yesterday?
Joke was trying to call in to
relay
it, but no.
Okay, let me just quickly mention the scores. Ivory Coast beat Mali 2-1. Cape Verde drew with South Africa, man, but then South Africa won 2-1 on penalties. I don't know how do you win 2-1 on penalties? So everyone just came there just kicking the ball into the stands. Anyway, so South Africa beat them 2-1. Cape Verde, they really tried, man. Nigeria beat Angola 1-0 and Congo beat Guinea 3-1. And we'll talk about Buatsi and Azeez tomorrow. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the reaction, man. Let's go into outro. Okay.
This person wants to remain anonymous, but they sent an email in whilst they were listening to the live.
Okay.
Subject is abandoned babies. Hi all, I want to be anonymous, but after your heated conversation about the above subject, I did a Google search and found this, and it proves Esther's point. Around 50 babies are abandoned each year in the UK. That's 1 a week. As it is illegal to abandon a baby in the UK, desperate women will often leave them in areas that are cold and unsafe. That is why the UK needs a law like the Safe Haven Law that is active in all states in America.
Is that? That doesn't prove anything. That's just. That doesn't prove anything.
Well, I don't know.
No, but I mean, what
She
you
said
read
it
doesn't
proves-
prove.
Wait a minute. You don't know what point she is saying
Sorry.
Esther made. It could prove a point that Esther made.
Okay, that's true. Pardon me.
You can't remember the conversation that we had yesterday. That was quite heated. Esther made a lot of valuable points, right? And during that time, you were quiet, right? That's how I asked you this morning. What do you believe?
And I also did agree with some of the things that Esther was saying too.
This might be
Yeah,
something
so it
that
might be one of those things.
Yes.
I think.
So you're quick to basically just flinch.
No, it's because when I heard that, I thought that she's basically. I think this is the case. Well, again, I could be wrong, but I thought she was basically trying to back up the idea that having these boxes or hatches there as options won't necessarily increase the amount of people that use it. You know what I'm saying? So I was just thinking, okay, is that trying to back that up? But of course, you know, what I mean, it's especially because mentioning how it's not legalized, so this will prevent babies ending up in the parks, which of course will be the case. But I guess my argument, and I think Mark's argument too, in part, is that because it's there as an option, you will now have not 50 babies, you may have more.
Remember, at the end of the stream, Margs asked a question. Can you remember the question he asked us?
No, tell me.
So did he say, hey, wait a minute, are these boxes going to be like Boris bikes? Where it's just all over the UK?
Oh, this guy.
Just to pick up, and then he said, that's why I was really against it, because I didn't know it was connected to some initiative or program where they're caregivers there to receive the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little tidbit,
addition.
just a little exclusive. That's why he was so vexed, because he was picturing the boxes like Boris bikes.
All right, I hear it.
And I'm not even making it up. And I know I have a reputation to do stuff like this, right? But I'm not even making it up. I'm not even making it up. Never mind.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, people.
Yes, outro. Yes, as you pause. But yeah, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks to the researchers for a great show. Thank you guys for liking the video, commenting. I'm thank you in advance, because I know not all of you have done so, but those that will, this thank you is for you. It's to you, right? For liking, commenting, sharing the videos. Guys, remember, we got a Discord now. It's functional.
Yes, it's functional 100%, but you need to give us a while to start creating topics and whatnot, hiring moderators so that they can create the topics.
Yeah.
And welcoming people when they come in, this, that, and next.
Yeah.
That will all come in due time.
Yes.
Yes. It's good that we now have a forum where we can explore other things and even announce other things. This is why it is one of the main reasons why we had this, because there are going to be quite a few announcements coming this year. Very exciting announcements, and we want there to be a place where we can be talking all throughout the day and we can mobilize all throughout the day.
Yes.
Yeah. So that will come to light very soon, but it's good that we now have a place that is, that can entertain that type of communication. But,
should we basically put the call out, I guess, to people who want to be moderators?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guys, if you're serious about it, if you know your way around Discord and whatnot, and you want to be contribute to the community in this capacity, please let us know, man.
Someone y'all who emailed me on the sly, someone emailed me today. Well, let me read this. This might be great for Mr. Black Rob. Hopefully he's still listening. I'm not going to read the name of the person. It's a bit cheeky, even though they were cheeky. Hi, Brent. I am behind on my episodes, but had to say some of Black Rob's assessments were ass, in my opinion. Emojis with laughter. I'm just saying. I'm sure he often thinks he's the smartest person in a room. That is all. Have a good week. Daily listener.
All right.
So obviously I've responded saying, hey, please provide your assessment so I can read it out tomorrow, right? I mean, because you've said his assessment was ass. Yeah. This person replies, ha! I think it's a little wild to make judgments of people as a whole based on a few hours of interaction and the nature of the show. To think I have any of your personalities pegged to a T would show the same level of hubris as Black Rob. Lol. I will say you are a certified troll. But I definitely disagreed with the assessment and suspect you are an emotional person. Have a good show.
Wow.
I responded, lol. He definitely got that wrong. I proudly display my feelings. God forbid I ever leave that pursuit of betterment.
That's this guy, man.
I love you all. Keep them coming. But you, I would love for you to be in the community. Get in Discord, babes.
Yes. All right, people, man. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
We'll be here again tomorrow, 8 a.m.
Yeah, we'll have a full cast.
You know what I'm saying?
Minus the beautiful Gina. In fact, she might call in. Yeah, she might call in.
Yeah, for real. Thank you for calling in, Gina.
Yeah.
Valuable. Thank you, Christy, as well, for calling in as well. Appreciate you. Yeah, have a good day, people.
Love you.
Peace.
Bye.